Alright, so we are about to do the production video for Ghost Town. This is how I made the beat for the song. Thank you to everybody who has listened to it, streamed it, showed it to somebody. I appreciate it. If you haven't heard the track yet, it's in the description. There's a link to all the streaming services. So I'm just going to assume like everybody has already heard the song so that we don't have to listen to the whole thing, because I have to keep this video under 15 minutes and that takes too long. So this is the way we're going to do it. We're just going to start and go section by section. And yeah. So obviously we are looking at the session for Ghost Town. This is how I organize all of my sessions. I try to divide things up by instruments, bass, drums, effects, and vocals. We'll get into the phone thing in a second, but yeah, this is how I do this. Mainly do it for the purpose of being able to isolate frequency sounds and open up the frequency spectrum for the mix. Fair warning, I did not mix this or master it. My friend Pedro did, but he killed it. So some of this stuff is a little bit dry because that's how he preferred to get it. But I tried to emulate some of the things that he did. Overall, the track itself was pretty dry, but yeah, well, let's just get into it. So at the beginning, I wanted it to be kind of lo-fi sounding, so I recorded everything in the beginning through my phone speaker, actually, because you can just degrade the quality of the song or of the recording, and it kind of gives this different vibe. So in the beginning, there's this ukulele sound that was recorded just with my phone. And that just has some RC20 on it, and obviously the EQ, I'm trying to isolate that mid-range. Then I did the same thing with vocals, just recorded it straight on my phone. Got a snap in there. And then there's this ad-lib. And then the whistle, which is arguably the best part of the track, maybe. But yeah, and then throughout the whole track, there's these birds. They're super quiet. You can't even really hear them, but it's subconscious. It adds like a layer of aura, atmosphere to it, I think. But if we turn them up, yeah, so that's running through the whole track. They're a little bit louder in this bridge section, but outside of that, they're there for the whole time. So the beginning together sounds like this. Go into it.
These bad habits turn to muscle memory. Little something flowing through my bloodstream. I swear time these days you move it like speed. Couple hours tucked away, I need release.
Okay, so the verse section is fairly simplistic, and once we do verse 1, we were kind of already done verse 2 because it doesn't change that much. So essentially, the only instrumentation that's playing is the ukulele, and the ukulele is playing two chords. It's a G major and a C major. They're both like G major 9, C major 9. I don't play the ukulele, but I figured it out for this track, and I thought it was a flip from the guitar sounds that I use a lot, and I wanted to try some new things sonically. So this is the ukulele recorded with this microphone. So that's just has some EQ, compression, reverb, and I don't really know why this last EQ is here, but I guess I was just adding it in. I don't know. But then I felt like it was too thin when it was just the regular ukulele, because it's really in the high frequency range, you know? So what I did is I just took it and I pitched it down an octave, and it made it sound kind of like a nylon guitar. So that's this right here. And I took out some of the highs. Yeah, so together they sound like this. Sounds really pretty, and I wanted to kind of juxtapose wanted to kind of juxtapose the light, floaty feel of the ukulele with some heavier drums and also an 808. So the instrumentation in the verse and in verse 1, 2, and then also the back half of the second chorus is just that. And then there's this 808 that kind of sounds like a kick. And it's punchy. I always make sure my 808s are tuned. Make sure you're tuning your 808s. And just some EQ, compression, saturation to give it a little more harmonics. And then this is the Culture Vulture, which is the cheat code for all 808s and bass sounds. So if you have an 808 sound that you think needs a little bit more, just throw this on it. And that the 808 is basically just following the chord progression of the ukulele. One thing I forgot about in the intro is I have this guitar tap right here. And that is throughout the whole track. And then other than that, in the verse 1, it's just the drums. And those sound like this. Pretty normal, you know. I think that with some of this stuff you don't really need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to make it sound good, and that's what I was going for. I got this clap as the main snare, and then I have this real clap that's kind of reverbed out, and then mixed in there is these like kind of guitar tap hits, and then there's this like timbale that I think is pretty nice.
It feel like I knew you in a past life.
So that's pretty much everything. So everything together without the vocals sounds like this. Then it's just the vocals. So then on the vocals for this, we have the main vocal and then the stack for the harmonies. Pretty self-explanatory.
Me shines somewhere in between all these blurred lines. Me shines somewhere in between all these blurred lines. In a past life, it feel like I knew you in a past life.
Yeah. So that's basically this whole section. This whole verse section is just that and those instruments and the drums. And then we go into this next section. Sorry, I was away from the mic there for a sec. We go into this next section here.
Even you just doing
simplistic guitar tap. I wanted to kind of bring it back down from where it was.
Seasons through my phases like the seasons. Going with the flow. Sun rising, but we on the wind.
So for this, going into this, we have this hold. Uke hold, that's what I named it, but it's just the same chords strummed out, not strummed fully, and then we get into this floaty section where I wanted it to be a lot of textures and a lot of layers together. So here we have the main so that's this just for clarity.
Sun rising, but we on the wind, and the city looking like a ghost town. City looking like a ghost.
So during that section we have the ukulele, and then we have the same high uke that's playing. Then I panned the low uke to the right, so we add it in, and then I also added in this this guitar finger pick. So now the stereo field is a little bit wider, right? We have things on the right, left, in the middle. It's starting to layer together. It's textured, you know what I mean? And then also there's these 16th notes that I played on the ukulele, which are just plucked 16th notes. And those are panned left and right as well. And then finally I added in this grand piano hit. And what I did is it's just stock grand piano from Ableton, and then I added in this reverb, and then I put the compressor at the end of the reverb, behind the reverb, so that the compressor is compressing the sound of the reverb as well, which is kind of a no-no as far as traditional mixing, but you know, you can do whatever you want when you're producing, and that's cool. All right, and then as this was building, so these are all the instruments together. I added in this guitar sound on the turnaround. Just following the same chords. And then just this guitar riff as well. Add in the bass as well. So all instruments. And then we have just the drums in addition to what was there. It's just some light drums. They follow the similar pattern. And the vocals.
Sun rising, but we on a wind down, and the city looking like a ghost town. The city looking like.
And the only thing that's worth mentioning in the bridge vocals here is I have this.
Oh baby, what's the point in me?
I sang this top line over the hook. You know, the hook is repeating, but I sang this top line over the hook just to give it a little variation. And then I put this little altar boy on it, and I messed with the formant, so it makes the formant sound.
Even, oh no, like
Yeah.
season.
So it almost sounds like a different person is in the room. You know what I mean?
You just doing that to get going through your faces like the seasons, through my faces like the seasons. Ooh yeah, lately I've been in my zone. Back to basics, yeah, I'm talking skin and bones. You can't reach me, I ain't picking up my phone.
And this section is basically the same as verse 1. So just the same instrumentation. And it just kind of flips back around again. But yeah, those are like the main two sections. And that's pretty much the whole track. So thanks so much to everyone who's listened. I think that simplicity is sometimes the best. So yeah, I don't really have much more to say on this. I think let me know in the comments if you want me to do more of these like production videos. I'm super down. I can do it for all the songs that are coming out. Thank you again to everybody who's listened. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.